Hola, welcome to Happy Mind, Happy Life podcast. If you are new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. Evidently, this topic wasn't even supposed to make it this week. It was supposed to be next week, but I really just wanted to find a time to really release everything that I'm about to speak on. And to kind of just give like a backstory, my family is a bunch of things and it's a bunch of words to describe the people that I've grown up around. And I understand like everybody have different family dynamics and I'm willing to explore that with other people too. But hopefully in this segment, y'all get to know me a little bit better, who I am, and kind of things that either I've grown from, things that I'm still learning, and kind of just how I navigate my life nowadays. So let's get into it. This episode is called Family Dynamics. And so let's go. All right. I definitely want to kind of get into talking about my childhood. I think a lot of people know that my grandmother typically raised me up until like maybe middle school. But yeah, I grew up with my grandmother. I was a church girl. I was a praise dancer. I was in the choir. I ushered, you know, went to church events. I grew up in the church around a lot of people. And typically, like, you had to be on your best behavior. You had to be best dressed. You had to just do a lot of things, come prepared, and show up and show out. Like I was on a schedule, wake up, Sunday school, all that, go to church, come home, eat dinner. It's the same routine throughout the week, throughout the weekend, all of that. Growing up in my grandparents' house wasn't easy. I don't know if anybody would be able to survive in this household. Typically, a lot of people saw what they saw on the outside. On the inside of these walls, it was pretty much like torture. It was pretty much like fear being done, and it wasn't like a loving environment. I can definitely say that like it wasn't loving affection, none of that. It was like do what I say or we're going to have an issue. I think like a lot of women in this household had to do a lot. I think my granddad just took care of like the cooking and washing clothes and stuff like that. But and a lot of men, like my siblings, like, they didn't have to do anything. They could just sit on their behinds over the weekend and feel free to do anything. I was very like sheltered in a sense like I couldn't do what other people did. Like if they went over to other people's houses, like I couldn't do it. Otherwise if I did go over to somebody else, my dad would have to come and get me. Like I couldn't do anything that was particularly fun or enjoyable unless it was like a sport or something like that they wanted me to play. I've seen a lot of people grow up in healthy homes, healthy environments and stuff like that, but a lot of it was just very dysfunctional. You couldn't really say how you felt. You couldn't really show emotion. It was just like you take it and pretty much you deal with it. It was just like even if you cry, it would be like, what are you crying for? I buy this for you, I did that for you. It's just throwing things in your face constantly, which what does that do for you? Absolutely nothing. Even if you tell people about themselves, it's just like it was pretty much like it was sad. It was disturbing. Like I'm a Sagittarius, so I tell people how I feel regardless. And I think like when I even did that just at a young age and stuff like that, like it rubbed people the wrong way. And so I definitely got in trouble a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I was a really bad kid. But yeah, my grandmother and my grandfather, my dad's them stepdad, I don't even call him like a step grandfather or nothing. He was really like a grandfather and stuff like that to me. But yeah, they both raised me and it wasn't easy for neither one of them. So I do give them credit for doing what they did. I have forgiven them for things that they have done that was unhealthy and toxic during that stage. How many siblings do I have? The ones that I claim are about like two. I think in total it's like eight or nine, depending on which side you count. There's like I think in my mom's side it's like five of us in total. And then my dad is like the five plus the four, maybe it's nine. I don't know. But I only claim two of those siblings. I already kind of chopped on this. Like the house that I grew up in was not loving. It was very toxic. Even when I stayed with, eventually staying with my dad, like if you didn't do what he said, like it was like the same habits that he picked up, unfortunately, and he put those on his kids and stuff like that. Like everything was pretty much not okay. I didn't know what a loving environment was, honestly, until I got into my maybe 20s. Yeah, like my early beginning, like 20s. No, I wasn't able to hurt, like, if you were, if you felt damaged or if you felt like someone hurt your feelings, like, you wouldn't be able to express that. And I think, like, at an early age, like, I was beginning to experience anxiety, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to express the hole in my heart and the feelings that were unbearable. And I don't think anybody can really see you screaming or crying for help in a sense, because I was afraid to share it to my friends or my teachers. Like I would get threatened at home. Like if you tell them teachers like what's going on, like we're gonna have a problem and stuff like that. And it wouldn't matter if I had bruises or anything like that, from getting whoopings and stuff like that. Like it was definitely a fearable environment. Um, how can we create a better safety net? Creating a better safety net would be just allowing communication to unfold in the correct positive way, making sure like there are acceptable boundaries, I think, when trying to provide healthy communication. And none of us knew what healthy communication was. I think growing up, like it was more so screaming how you felt. You weren't in a calm position to express how you feel. Kind of still do that now, just yelling how I feel. But then I have to bring it back down and be like, look, this is just what's going on. Just listen to me. It was like none of that. Like the traits I possess now, it was not none of that growing up. But yeah, like making sure like people know like you're there for them, voicing that, of course. Who was able to turn to for advice? Nobody. I wouldn't say I really talked to anybody for advice. I mean, my coaches, like when I got to high school, like a coach, yeah. But I mean, growing up, really, nobody for real, for real. I was just more so scared to talk to my friends about like what's going on in my household and things that I was like really experiencing. And like sharing that, it would just seem like, well, if you do this, like you're going to be taken away from your father or your mother and or your me. And it was just like it was just so unhealthy. So I think like nobody, but like now in this lifetime, I would definitely say Paris, who I talked to about like literally everything that's going on in my life, and she kind of creates a safety net for me to share like what's going on. I will go into detail soon about Paris, just real soon. Let's see. How was it growing up on with your siblings? I think growing up, like it was like a love and hate kind of relationship. Even to this day, I'm not gonna lie. It's more so not even hate, it's just I just don't care for you. Um, but growing up, particularly like yeah, definitely love and hate. We didn't communicate properly. So I think we had certain bonds with certain siblings. I would definitely say that like some siblings have stronger bonds than others. More so for me, like I felt like an outsider. I wasn't in everybody's, I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel like cared about from any of my siblings. So I just felt like an outsider. You know, everybody supported who they wanted to, everybody talked to or grew a bond with who they wanted to. It's just like, even then, like, you just can't force and control a lot of things that shouldn't be. And if you try to, it would just be a downfall. What do I love the most about my family? That's a big question because a lot of things I don't love or like. What I do love, I love my mom's side a lot because they're more affectionate, they're more loving. Like when you get around them, it's all laughs and giggles, and it's a much more fun environment. And you didn't have to really like worry about the negativity that was going on in a different area and stuff like that. Do I think I'll ever have a close bond with my siblings? No, no, not a close bond. I think a lot of things have happened mentally, physically, and when you have been forgiving in certain situations, and then a lot of people just bring up the past and they're holding on to grudges, and then typically like the same patterns keep happening again and again, and you think we're good, then we're not. You just grow to a point where you learn from your experiences. And then on top of that, like for me, it's just now I'm just like, well, if you do something to me, then it's done. Like we don't need to have a bond, a relationship, nothing. Whatever God want to do with you, that's what He gonna do with you. At the end of the day, like I don't have room for negativity, toxic people, people who don't take accountability. I don't have time for it. People who don't see an issue like with their actions, I don't have time for it, because if I accept my actions and if I take accountability, I would hope you would want to do the same. But if you don't, then you and me, we're not here. Like, no, I'm gonna grow without you. Stay where you at. What else? I really like the way I just worded that too. What's a recent conflict where you felt upset with a family member? I'm gonna talk about this past weekend. It was like because since I've like moved back here to my grandmother's and stuff like that, it wasn't a choice that I made. It was a choice that was made for me, and I didn't have no idea about it. And I'm currently just dealing with certain situations that have like triggered me, made me depressed, mentally and physically just hurt and not able to really just be, like making me feel safe and heard and all of that. And recently, like not recently, in the last 7 months, like I've tolerated a lot and I've kept my head down. Things have been said indirect or directly by my own siblings, and nothing has been said to me like face to face. I think a lot of people just grow with secret animosity. They have conversations about you and not to you. And sometimes I really just don't like that, because if I don't really try to antagonize someone, if I don't really try to portray my life to be around the center of you and stuff like that, like why do you have to do that to me? So, and it's just weird. Like it's weird altogether. Like weird people, weird energy, and although like when you have kids and stuff like that, like I grow a bond with my nieces and my nephews and stuff like that. And if you see that I have like a strong loving bond with them, or they have a strong loving bond with me, it's really easy to hurt me when you use that as a pawn or whatever to get to me. And so that's kind of like what happened this weekend, and a lot of communication issues. And I got into an argument with my brother, and he just didn't communicate properly. He did stuff, and then a sister did the same thing. Just they're just doing things to either antagonize me or hurt me. And so, and I was just like, well, just communicate better next time. And he was just really rude, throwing things in my face that I would just probably never say. And when you push me to a point, it's on and popping, pretty much. Like I'm gonna say what I want to say at this point. And then like on top of that, he was just pretty much like, at this point, like I would really beat your ass. And I'm like, so what's up? So what do you want to do? And during that time, like my dad was like, he was standing there. He was standing in like the middle, kind of. And I'm speaking to my dad, and I'm like, Dad, like just listen to me. Just please listen to me. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you about what is going on. Like people are coming to this house. They're doing things indirectly, directly, and he sees it too, because he'll be like, both of these people are full of shit, and but he won't say that to them. Know better. He know better. Um, but that's just my whole thing. Just people being real and upfront. And I wish I had more authentic people in my life. But like I said, I can't force people. I can't control what has been shown to me multiple times. And I'm really trying my best right now to just leave, to just really breathe and get away from the environment that God has placed me with. But there's more outside of this environment, I can't say. But yeah, I didn't like that conflict at all. I was like dealing with a lot of depression after it. I was not even gonna come back home. I was just gonna drive, and if I had like an anxiety seizure and stuff while driving, then so be it. At that point, like people would do things to hurt me, and I'm just like, what am I doing here? Like, what am I doing living this life like this? And I would hope like people who love and care about me or respect me are able to step in certain fronts and be like, bro, like, why are you doing that to her? Like, why are you messing with her? Why are you doing things to hurt her? If she's not trying to do that to you, if she's trying to move forward from certain things or situations that have happened, like, obviously you're holding on to grudges or whatever the case may be, and you need to move forward. You need to let it go or surrender to whatever it is. But as siblings, like, I don't have that. I really don't have that, and it's hard to be able to trust people who you feel like have the best intentions for you, and it kind of sucks overall. So, I mean, yeah. And I don't really express that all to people. I do talk to like Dom about certain stuff, and she understands that. But a lot of times when I'm expressing things about family and stuff like that, it's not meant to change someone's perspective about them. Um, and I don't want that to change for anyone whatsoever. But it's just my experience and what I've dealt with. And what is something you wish your family did more? Probably just communicate authentically, genuinely, and probably like have more events like spending time together. But nobody really gets along, so it's really all fake. Even if we did come around each other, it's all fake because everybody talk about each other and nobody really wants to be real with one another. So I think evidently, like as time goes on and stuff like that, things will be more revealed in due time. So I'm not really worried. Um, why am I considered the favorite child of my dad's? Do I feel like that? I don't feel like I'm the favorite child. I'm not gonna lie, like I don't feel like the favorite child. It's just I've been given that title, you know? I've been given that title a lot of times because my dad stands up for me. He gets in the middle of situations and he says things, and then if I'm standing right there, I'm like, Dad, like don't say nothing. Like just chill out. Because they're gonna be like, oh, you're sticking up for her. Oh, you're on her side. And it's really not that. He just don't like yelling and stuff like that all the time. But I do try to intervene and just try to talk to him like they really think that way. They really feel that way. Even if you don't think that way, even if I don't feel that way. You know? I think I do get like scared because I've dealt with so much physicality of fighting physically like my brothers. And then if here in this household I'm being threatened the same way, I feel like I'm going into survival mode and I have to protect myself at all costs. And I feel like my dad is always there for me. And I really do appreciate him for just sticking his head in and like really trying to diffuse the situation before it gets worse because I really have to think about the things I've accomplished, my credentials, stuff like that. And he really is a peacemaker for me. He really is a peaceful person in my eyes sometimes. But I do get fearful because when he leaves this world, he really is a protector for me. And so I feel like I'm able to protect myself. I don't always need him all the time, but when he is there, I do feel safe and I do feel, like everything's going to be okay. But if I lose that to this world, I really just don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to me and the protection that I felt. It's very scary. It's really scary. But yeah. Um my friends are more like my family. I think I've built friendships over time to where if they lasted long enough and stuff like that, like I consider them family. I consider them like my sister, and Destiny is like one of those people too. That's Bookie right there. But yeah, like people who are genuine and real and understand what I've gone through, who has been there and seeing like even just being in the presence of seeing like what my family has done and how they react to certain things. I love that for them to get just for them to get a better understanding of who people really are. And I love that. What kind of person do I think my siblings think of me as? Probably like the devil. Definitely the devil. Definitely negative. If I don't like, and it's funny because when people do things to me and the way I react, they probably wouldn't expect me to do it. And because of that, I'm either just negative, a bad person. I'm not real. I'm not authentic or genuine. And I really just don't be caring because who are you? You're not in my life to really speak on anything. And I can really just say it back, but I'm not the type of person to just go back and forth with people who are either miserable and immature. I don't feel like I have time for it, and it doesn't bring any joy or happiness to my life to, dive down to that level of stupidity. And I don't want to do that. Recently I have been antagonized and like people have said like a lot of bad things to me, and but I think at the end of the day God has the last word. So um I try to just keep that in mind and, have strong positive affirmations. But yeah, my siblings are who they are, so you know, it is what it is. Um, how would I describe my relationship with my parents? Growing up, my dad was always like the parent that was around for like sports and stuff like that. I didn't really have a relationship with my mom growing up, but I would see her. I don't have like that close relationship with neither parent. I think like it it hits and it misses. So it's really just an up and down relationship. But if I really had to choose, like I talk to my dad more. And if I really want to talk to my mom because she's a calmer person than my dad is, then I go to my mom. You do not want to upset my dad. Let's see. What's the deal with me calling them by their first name? I literally call my dad by his first name when he's like doing something. I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? And then I'd be like, Dad, like that's when I like want something. Like I need $1 or whatever. Or I just come over there and I just bother him for no reason. And he understands that too. My mom, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, when I call her, she calls me. She'll be like, yes, Brittany. And I'll be like, yes. And then her first name. But I don't know. Maybe I'll grow out of it, but I doubt, I doubt it will. Um, did I ever consider that I was born into the wrong family? Hell yeah. Um, I was definitely wrong into the born. I was definitely born into the wrong family. If I was born, I don't think I'm meant to be in this lifetime, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like I'm meant to be in a different, maybe generation, maybe in the earlier years and stuff like that, but definitely not this lifetime. But if I am, and or since I am in this lifetime, like, I do have a purpose. I do solely believe in that. And I feel like I will always walk in my purpose. So, but yeah, I do think I was born into the wrong family for sure. What has the meaning of family taught me? Anybody could change. Anybody could really just do what's best for you for the benefit of themselves and really just kind of flip the script, become a narcissist, guilt trip you. Family is not really who you were born into. You know, there's other things outside of that that can actually positively affect that meaning. And I've seen that a lot of times outside of this household and who I've grown up around. So everybody has their own meaning, but it has definitely taught me different things. Why do I think it's important to be direct and honest in a family you grown up in? I think when everything's out in the open, it allows for everything to be unfolded. Everybody gets to know what's like really going on. I don't like anything being done behind my back, even though it's always occurring. But if people were taught to openly speak about certain things and not really keeping things in private, it would probably everything would probably maybe run a little bit smoother, you know? But if people were more honest and direct, I think people wouldn't act the way they do around certain people. People wouldn't be around family as much as you think they would be. And so I really just want to put that out there because I'm the more so direct person and I love talking to people and stuff, but we can't get nowhere if nobody's being honest or direct. So yeah. What has changed the most in your family dynamic? I would definitely say that since my grandmother has passed, I believe it was in 21. Um the the passing of her was like tragic. It was depressing. The it really just showed who people really are. And I would say that again. You see the greediness. You see people intentions. You see what they really want at the end of the day. You see how they want to navigate their personal lives. And my grandmother, she always was just like, when I'm gone, you're gonna, I don't know what y'all gonna do. And I wouldn't necessarily say not necessarily know what y'all gonna do. I just think like how siblings act towards each other or just communicating the dislike for one another comes out, like the nastiness, like the griminess, like it comes out and it's so bad. Like when a person passes, you see just everything kind of falling down. And that was just it's really sad. Like I didn't always have the best relationship with my grandmother. I think just in like her last coming days and stuff. And she was just like, I called her and I was like, "How are you?" And she was like, "Not good, Brittany." And then just seeing her pass and stuff like that is just it's really sad. It's just the glue. That was pretty much the glue. I really think like a lot of things would be different if she was around. She was definitely a goat and the type of person to tell people about themselves. And I feel like I get that from her for sure. And to pass down to my dad. He definitely tells somebody how they are. But yeah, that's the most thing that has changed. Like that was like the biggest dynamic. And it's still kind of like that. But you can't really change a lot of things. I think people where things are meant to turn out how they're supposed to. Is there anything that I'm currently struggling with within my family? I would just definitely say it was just a lot of like depressing moments and depressing episodes. And Monday, I was like really going through a lot, and I had reached out to, I don't even know if I can call her a friend, but I was just like, I wouldn't do this on a normal. I would not do this in the normal because people tend to just do things that I just wouldn't normally do to them, especially in my family. And I suffer in silence a lot of times. You would not be able to hear me cry in the back room. And then when I start crying, it's either like anxiety building up, anxiety seizures, and I will like literally just freak out. And I recently just got like an anxiety, like little breathing thing to kind of help out. But just pretty much just struggling with, you know, being able to just walk away. And a lot of times I've done that in this family. I've just walked away. I've let a lot of things go. Like people have asked, my dad have asked me and stuff like that. And sometimes I feel bad for retaliating the way I do. And a lot of people don't see that. I feel bad for doing the things that I've done because a lot of times I'm not proud of it. A lot of times like maybe it wasn't the right thing to do. But at the same time, if it's brought me like peace or grace in any kind of way, then yes, like I'm fine. If my blessings are still coming in, then like I'm fine. But a lot of times, like a lot of things get hard mentally, physically, emotionally. It gets draining. And I get stressed out with that a lot because I'm also in school too. And nobody realizes like how much weight is upon my shoulder to really do what's best for me. Like I want to make people proud, but I also want to make myself proud, do right by me, and I also want to be able to support people around me in this family as well. But I can't do that. I cannot do that anymore. I've lost bonds in this family, which I'm okay with, which it is what it is. I'm not hurting over it. I just think like people have a lot of growing to do and I can't force that. I can't control or ask them to grow, ask them to do what they're supposed to do as human beings in this world to feel better, to do better, or earn more, learn more for themselves. That's just a big struggle. I feel like people don't always see the bigger picture. Because if somebody came up to me and asked me how this person is doing, I'm gonna really tell you because I don't have nothing to hide, and I would hate for somebody to ask me, and I'm really just sitting there gaslighting them, like, yeah, they're doing fine, they're doing great. But I don't want to sit there and lie. I don't want to sit there and be like, oh, I don't know, because I'm lying. And I'm always around like people who do things who don't really have anything going for themselves, and I'm like, why do I need to stoop down to anybody who really is not going to ever do right by me? That is really hard. That is that's really hard. And I don't think my dad sees it sometimes. And I feel like when he leaves this world and stuff like that, like he'll finally see people for what and truly who they are. I feel like he's already seen it too. I think he knows like what's going on. But I think just evidently in this world particularly a lot of people don't see things until they leave this world. And a lot of things be right straight in front of them. Like right straight in front of them. So I'm hoping as time goes by and stuff like that, like I do get out of the struggle mentality and stuff like that. And like I just keep building my mental to be as powerful as much as possible. And I pray that people gather around me to support me and to kind of just elevate, lift me up in any kind of possibly, positive way as much as possible because I would love to do the same for somebody else. But yeah, that was a big topic. But yeah, I just really just wanted to kind of top it up on that. But yeah, I hope everyone is having a great week. I feel so much better with like today's Thursday, but I feel so much better about how things are gonna get better for me. And really, like Monday, I was really thinking I lost a battle, but really, I was overthinking and I was so overwhelmed. But really, I really want a war. After looking at everything and the details of everything, I really want a war. So, other than that, I'm about to clock out. I have another episode to record tomorrow with my booski. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I love this person so much. Oh my gosh, she's like a sister to me. Yeah, so I'll catch y'all later. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe to my podcast. Make sure y'all have a good day. Always smile, be happy. If you need anything, always feel free to reach out to me. And I hope y'all have a blessed day. Peace.